name is Dylan Smith, and I'm an Ayurvedic practitioner and educator, which is a traditional medical science. And what brings me to Awaken is to support and be part of this collective of increasing the collective consciousness of healing and of wellness and of perception of the realms of consciousness. So I'm very honoured to be here at Awaken and very honoured to be part of this family of founders, and I hope to contribute towards increasing the collective consciousness and helping that evolve. I also personally have enjoyed and look forward to continuing collaborations and meeting other people in similar fields and working together to create more of a ripple effect of wellness. We bring some of the essentials from our Ayurveda dispensary. We have nose drops to sniff up to the brain. We have drops to put into water to drink as a tea to give what's called prana, life force. We have massage oils. We have herbs to make your own massage oil. And tongue scrapers, a herb called bliss, which increases bliss consciousness. That's some bags.
Cool. And mate, you're a speaker here too.
Yes.
How was it? Was it good to get up on the stage yesterday and educate people?
Yeah, of course. I love doing it, and it's a beautiful venue, beautiful energy, and I'm really loving it. So yeah, it's great to speak about neurological health yesterday, and look forward to a couple talks today. So.
Yeah, mate, I watched your speech yesterday, and I was baffled how do you absorb so much knowledge?
Mostly by being immersed in it in a clinic in India that can see 60 patients a day, and with some of the best doctors in the world, not just Ayurveda doctors but medical professionals. And when I'm with such a physician, it really elevates me, and it kind of helps me to move towards their level, or it invites me to some extent, and that allows me to absorb so much on so many levels. And that's the main reason is these teachers that I have. I'm so blessed.
Are you ready to learn a little bit more about your body, the language of health, and why it is not normal to have losses of health? Are we ready? So let's put these hands together and a little feet stomp for the one and only Mr. Dylan Smith.
Good afternoon. Oh, I have a clicker. All right. So today we're going to be speaking about Ayurveda medicine and neurological health. How many people here are familiar with Ayurveda? A show of hands. How many people are basically brand new? Maybe you've heard the name, but right. So I'll speak about it. We'll go into it. Cool. So, as MC just explained, there's this norm now which is becoming the norm, and that is, it's okay that my father or grandfather is losing his memory, he's in his 70s, or she's losing her hearing because she's, becoming towards 80s. And it's really important that we separate this, because it's not associated with aging, it's a disease. I'm sure you all know someone living in their 90s, maybe even 100, living independently, fully cognitive able, good sensory function, good cognitive function. That's health. That's normal. That's natural, actually. But what's becoming the norm is not very inspiring, not just in the realms of neurological health, but it's normal for a woman to have pain on her period. It's normal for a couple not to conceive the first time they try. It goes on, and we really need to, first of all, understand our birthright of health and redefine the norms, reclaim it. So, do I click the right and left? Because it's not working. There we go. All right. So quick introduction about me. My name's Dylan Smith, and We'll talk a bit about what Ayurveda is, but primarily I study with this beautiful family, my beloved teachers, the Raju family, who are a family of Ayurvedic doctors in South India. The thing with Ayurveda is, which is a medical tradition, a natural traditional medicine, is that a lot of Ayurveda has been lost. A lot of it's been misunderstood, miscommunicated. India had many invasions. It had the Mughal invasions, multiple invasions. It had British invasions. So a lot of the Ayurveda has been stripped away, but luckily there's a handful of families that still have an unbroken lineage of this precious science, and the Rajus are one of them. And so what is Ayurveda? Briefly, I'm doing a talk tomorrow on Ayurveda, but just to introduce, the best way to learn about Ayurveda is the word. Sanskrit word, Ayur means life, Veda means knowledge. So Ayurveda is the science or the knowledge of life, the science of life. What does it mean by the science of life? It's how to live life according to science. What is science? In the Vedic terms, science are the laws of nature. When we can understand how nature operates, we can understand the mechanics of nature, we can live life healthy. And more than health, the aim of Ayurveda is dharma, karma, artha, moksha. So when you understand the laws of nature, you live life in this way. With number one, with dharma. Many of you have heard the term dharma. Dharma is not just my purpose in life or my career. It's actually what is the most evolutionary thing you can be doing in any given moment. So it's not necessarily your dharma to be a nurse or to be a healer. Sometimes it might be your dharma to be pregnant and nourish your fetus by resting and not watching Netflix and kicking your feet up. Sometimes it's your dharma to look after your child. Sometimes it's your dharma to put all your devices and work down and attend to yourself. So dharma is what's the most evolutionary thing you can be doing in any given moment. So that's a yearning. It's the Chaturvidha Phalas, the 4 fruits of life. And one of them is this yearning to be serving in evolution. The second is karma. So we want to have pleasure. We want to have joy. We want to live a life of that. And that's also... The third one is abundance. We want to be abundant. We want to have abundance of resources, abundance of food, abundance of herbs, abundance of good quality water, produce. And the fourth is moksha. How many of you have heard the word moksha? Common Sanskrit word. It's liberation. This is where health comes in. Liberation from disease, liberation from neurological disease, physical disease, mental, emotional. When we understand the laws of nature and we can attune to those laws, then we live life with dharma, karma, artha, moksha, with purpose, with pleasure, with abundance and liberation. So Ayurveda is essentially understanding to live in tune with nature. When you live in tune with nature, you live in tune with your own human nature. And that's where perfect health lies. Even if you have an autoimmune condition you've had for 20, 30 years, you say your brain, your immune system is attacking the thyroid gland or the joints, whatever autoimmune, the skin, you still have the memory of health. When you were born, when everyone here was born, they're basically perfectly healthy. Even if you weren't, maybe you're missing an organ, maybe you had some deformity, still you have the memory of health on a cellular level. So what we do in Ayurveda is we re-enliven that health. Ayurveda is more about reminding the body of health. For example, I was just speaking to a cancer patient and she talked about how her breast cancer has spread to the lymph nodes, but she has the memory of autophagy, which means the cells commit suicide. Everyone right now in this room has cancer cells, but you don't all have the cancer disease. So those who don't have the cancer disease, which is the majority of the people, your cells are performing the proper function. They are dying, and then a white stem cell takes over. But those who have the cancer disease, the memory of health is distorted and it's lost. It's not dying and letting a stem cell take over. It's continuing to grow and multiply. So yes, in Ayurveda, in fact, I work a lot with cancer, and we do target the tumors and shrink them and prevent the spread, but that's not the primary treatment. The primary treatment is remind the body of how to heal itself, restore the intelligence of health, restore the memory of health. And we all have that memory, no matter if you've got a terminal disease, if you have a chronic disease which is going on for decades, if you're born with Down syndrome, whatever it is, you have the memory of health, and we need to re-enliven it. So by tuning to natural law, attuning to the laws of nature, you tune with your own human nature, which is perfect health. And the primary thing is we need to re-enliven the memory of health. So A beautiful quote by Joseph Campbell: "The goal of life is to make your heartbeat match the beat of the universe, to match your nature with nature." So that's the essence. Okay, it's fundamental, it's foundational. I'll talk a bit about Alzheimer's and dementia or neurological degeneration in general. It covers these different things. So in this session today, I'm going to discuss about the neurodegenerative epidemic, this norm that I'm going to get dementia when I turn 80, the causes of neurodegeneration, preventative measures, and treatment protocols. Preventive measures is really key, and where we can really prevent. I speak to a lot of physicians that I work with. I'm a natural health practitioner, but I work a lot with particularly allopathic scanning and diagnostic methods. And many doctors will tell you there are two things that they wish their patients can really prevent if they really act. And this is coming from like conventional allopathic. One is neurodegenerative disorders, and the second is osteoporosis, which is bone degeneration. So these two things can really be prevented with measures, and I'm going to share with you some very easy and powerful ways. So first of all, just to speak about this pandemic or epidemic, 55 million people are living with dementia globally, one new case every 3 seconds. Cases expected to triple by 2050. Seventh leading cause of death worldwide. Parkinson's is the fastest growing brain disorder. It's now become the third leading cause of death in USA after cardiovascular health and cancer. And what it's doing to the insurance system is crazy. That's where preventative health really steps in, because it's very powerful insurance, not just for you, for the society and for everyone. So, yeah, it costs the world a lot of money, costs Australia $5 billion a year, and it's like similar with autism. It's kind of overwhelming the healthcare system. I mean, you think autism used to be like 1 in 10,000, well, was it 1 in 5,000 children, and not long ago, just a few decades ago, and now it's become 1 in 36 children. So there's going to be a point at the trend that, how many people do you need a full-time carer for autism? It's not going to be easy to find. So to keep it really simple, this is what Ayurveda does. It just acts at the fundamental mechanics of natural law before it manifests into an amyloid plaque in the brain, or to it manifests into a hormone deficiency, or whatever is the reason. It works at the root, at the 5 elements. So essentially, you can just think of this as dry brain. Dryness. We have an epidemic of dryness. You ask a lot of physicians, they will talk about 100% of the population is dehydrated. So in general, we have dryness. How does that show in the brain? Well, let's talk about other areas of the body quickly, because right now we're living in a dry season, and Sydney is pretty dry. Melbourne's much drier. So I was just in London. It's extremely dry. So dryness in the colon can look like constipation, a bit hard stools, dry stools. Dryness in the mind, and not the brain, but the mind, the nervous system, when that becomes a bit dry and light and airy, that can lead to anxiety, kind of feeling ungrounded. Dryness in the skin, of course. Dryness in the nasal cavities, in the arteries. A big cause of cholesterol disease is dry oils, which are basically seed and vegetable oils. Actually, I think I will speak about that a little bit in this topic. Or maybe tomorrow's topic. But dryness. So dryness in the brain. When the brain is dry, the synapses which the brain cells communicate with each other cannot move well. It's like not a nice slippery slope. There's no lubricated myelin sheath to keep the brain cells to function and communicate. So dry brain, very common. It's very easy for us as physicians to feel in the pulse. I do pulse diagnosis, and my teachers are world-renowned masters of pulse diagnosis. It's amazing what they can feel in the pulse. And you can clearly feel dryness in different parts of the body through the pulse. So that's one big factor, dry brain. So in Alzheimer's, dryness is shrinking. Dryness is degeneration. It's catabolism. Lubrication, which is the opposite to dryness, is growing. When a baby is growing, or even until 30 years old, when we're growing, we're anabolic. We're increasing our tissue. We're getting That's why babies get mucus. They're full of lubricating and wet qualities. As soon as we hit about 60 years or menopause time, that's when in Ayurveda we call the Vata age, or the dry age, or the air element age. And that's when everything starts degenerating. The brain shrinks like a raisin. The bones lead to osteopenia, osteoporosis. But that does not have to happen. That's what happens if preventative measures are not taken. And really,
big thing in this world is dryness. If everyone has heard of the word Vata, I'm not going to go into it because it's a big topic, but in Ayurveda, the 3 doshas, the 5 elements, Vata is the king of the doshas, which is the air element, is the king of the doshas. The number 1 quality is dryness. So, dryness, we need to find. Seed and vegetable oils, yeah, I did just speak about it. These oils, which you get from basically any restaurant, even if it's a 5-star restaurant, they actually dry out the system. It's like a false economy. It's causing the arteries to dry out and puts pressure, and that can lead to cholesterol issues, and it dries out the gut and many things. Inadequate dietary fat. I'm going to share with you the best dietary fats to eat. Avoiding fat. You know, I think it's known that the biggest myth in medical history is that cholesterol is bad or cholesterol causes cardiovascular health. No, cholesterol is one of the most essential molecules in our body, but there's good and there's bad cholesterol, and you don't just get it from a standard cholesterol panel. This is why it's the biggest medical myth, because people will look at doctors who are stuck in dogma and not updating themselves with the progressive science will see, oh, your HDL is good, or your HDL is bad, or your LDL is good or bad, and from that they'll prescribe statins. Bottom line is, cholesterol is the biggest misunderstood aspect of medicine, and that's just not my opinion. That's the opinion of many well-regarded doctors, and it's pretty well known. Doesn't take much. Times magazine, somewhat recently, well after the dogma came, did an article, front page, butter is back. So it's known cholesterol is important. So you've got to get good dietary fats. Air and wind is very significant. Living in dry climates, living in climates like London, Melbourne, it can really, the wind goes into the ears, the dryness enters especially the ears. That's why keeping your ears covered is really important for brain health. And lack of lubrication, I'll share with you different ways to lubricate besides good fats internally. Stress, of course, mental and emotional issues. For example, senile dementia. It's like stuck in the past. Someone's stuck in the past so much that they can't be in the present and kind of feel into the future and live in this. But poor sleep is a big one. Of course, the brain regenerates. I mean, if you're not sleeping well, you can't really heal anything. Artificial blue light. So looking at screens at night or having lights on in the night when you're not protecting from those lights. So how can you protect? You can use filters, you can use blue light blocking glasses, and because this blue light, it destroys dopamine, and that particularly will affect Parkinson's. But looking at a light at night, for example, a TV like this, or having a light on after sunset, is a certain, like that TV right now is about a light temperature of 6,500 Kelvin. That's how we measure light. We measure in Kelvin. That's about 6,500 Kelvin. These beautiful yellow lights instead, they're probably about 2,200 Kelvin. So if I'm looking at this screen at say 8 p.m. watching Netflix in the winter, way past sunset, 6,500 Kelvin's about the temperature of a midday sun. So if you're looking at that, and that hits your retina, it tells your brain that it's midday. Then you try go to sleep 2 hours after TV, and you can't get proper melatonin function because your brain thought it was midday 2 hours ago. So if you instead either made that warm, you know how your iPhones can go warm, you can make it most warm, or you wear blue light blocking glasses, which are basically orange lens glasses. Your brain doesn't think it's midday, it knows it's a more warm, a more candle temperature, around 2,000 Kelvin. Then you can get melatonin quicker. Melatonin is the best anti-inflammatory for the brain. And don't get it from popping a pill. You need to start your own pineal gland to make its melatonin. But you can protect. And I'm speaking about light tomorrow, light and the sun and the hormones and photoendocrinology. Sorry, I'm speaking a lot, I know. Hope I'm not going too fast. Hope you're following me. We'll get questions at the end. Poor microbiome, of course, the gut-brain connection. And how many people have heard of gut-brain connection? Right, it's pretty well known now. This is known as the second brain. The enteric nervous system sits here. It's about the size of a cat's brain is in here. Such a concentration of nerve plexus. 100% digestion plays a major role in brain health. And in Ayurveda, digestion is the center of the human physiology. It's like the bindu point. Everything revolves around it. Like all the planets revolve around the sun. All our organs, all our tissues, all our joints revolve around our digestion. Tomorrow I'm speaking about the sun. I have 2 talks tomorrow, by the way, but one of them is about the sun, and it's about the sun as a divine healer, and not seeing the sun as a carcinogenic devil, but seeing it as a healer. And our digestive fire is heavily related with the sun. So, digestion is huge with brain health and just in general that area. And toxins, of course. If you're eating non-organic food, you're working as a painter, you're taking certain medications, you're putting chemical shampoo on your hair every day. So unless it's natural, this is extremely contributing to neurological disease. So if you get neurological disease when you're 80 years old, okay, we can't blame it on one thing. There's so many different factors that contribute, and these are all going to contribute to different levels of degrees depending on the person as well. Here's another example of medication. A study was done on the contraceptive pill, and it showed, through MRIs, they showed the difference in the brain regions and the alterations and the memory and the stress and all this. So you can go on and see. So another thing with the causes of neurodegeneration, I've got a lot to talk about today, so I'm just going to go a bit quick, but one is, how many people have heard of this type 3 diabetes? By show of hands. So essentially, diabetes, of course, is when there's insulin resistance, when the body cannot utilize the energy well, and the brain, because it uses 20-25% of the body's glucose, when that is not adequately giving energy, then the brain gets starved. And then when the brain is starved, like it's malnourished, that's when the degeneration starts to happen. In Ayurveda, one of the definitions of health is maintenance of the tissues. So the tissues of blood, lymph, bone marrow. Bone marrow includes brain tissue. Okay, fat tissue, muscle tissue, reproductive tissue. So one of the best ways to maintain these tissues, i.e. to maintain anabolic action, which is building the tissues, and prevent catabolic, which is degeneration, whether it's your brain or your bones or your muscles or whatever it is. The best ways to improve and prevent degeneration in any part of the body is good diet, because that is our primary feeding mechanism. That's primarily going to not just make us nice and satisfied and give some nourishment and comfort to the belly. It's going to, after you're doing that, hopefully, if it does that, if it's one, good food, and two, you have good digestion, it will then begin to nourish the different tissues, the brain, the bones, the muscle, the joints. So food is really key in preventing any degeneration. So when that's not proper, the brain will shrink and have this issue, particularly Alzheimer's. So, and then it can get plaque as well, the amyloid plaque, which amyloid plaque is the main way. So with Alzheimer's, they haven't treated it. Like, there's no cure in medicine. And that's mainly because they're targeting the plaque. Now, amyloid plaque is actually a protective mechanism. We need it to fight off infections, but it's become in excess. So the medications they give for Alzheimer's is just to take away the plaque. But why did the plaque get there in the first place? It got there in the first place because it's a defense mechanism. There's something in the brain. There's something passing through the blood-brain barrier. Yesterday at lunch, I was having a conversation with someone who works for the New South Wales Premier, and he was talking about the fire retardants in water. So due to I think it was 2023 or 2022 bushfires, the amount of fire retardants that went into the land and then is in the water, this is a forever chemical. This is very hard to get out. It's in the Warragamba Dam. It's in the water. You can't filter this out. So that crosses straight the blood-brain barrier. They call it forever chemical. It's very hard to get out. That's why spring water is the solution. And we'll speak about proper hydration soon. And I had this conversation a few months or 6 months ago with someone in Perth who works in WA water about the fire retardants. And it reminded me of that conversation. So these type of chemicals, which are inevitable, yes, there's so many things you can do to avoid chemicals, but ultimately we want to be strong. We want to enhance our brain health so that we can drink tap water when we need to and have some phones near our body. There's so many toxins. But yes. So this is when I saw phones in the body. How many people here, be honest with yourself, honor that something like a mobile phone or some other microwave device has a negative impact on your health? Be honest. Okay. So this is personally what I and many others think is extremely significant. In case you don't know, there's an absolute epidemic with male fertility at the moment. Actually, the biggest area in my clinic I work with is fertility. And in case you don't know, the sperm count in men in just about 30 years has reduced by 50%. And I'm sure you've heard of fertility problems. It's now a huge epidemic, but people don't realize it's actually the man. It's both, but more so the man. One of the reasons is why? They put phones in their pockets, it zaps their genitals, or they put a laptop on their lap, it zaps the genitals. There's 3 main areas of the body that have what's called concentration of voltage-gated calcium channels, which is the channel which allows calcium in. 3 main areas: brain, heart, genitals. So, what is a voltage-gated calcium channel? I'm going to explain how EMF works briefly. A voltage-gated calcium channel is what allows calcium to get in. Calcium is important, but when EMF goes to those vulnerable areas, excess calcium accumulates in the body, increase intracellular calcium levels, and that's what leads to oxidative stress, free radicals, and can lead to whatever, Alzheimer's disease, dementia, whatever is going to trigger from the free radicals. It's extremely significant. I guarantee you, mark my words all right now. Just like, I don't know, how many decades ago people thought cigarettes were fine, not an issue. Now we're like, Jesus, you used to think cigarettes are healthy, you used to think cigarettes are fine. In 10 years or 9 or 8 years even, we'll be saying, what, you used to put a phone next to your head? I guarantee you. It's already obvious. Even Apple, they say, do not put the phone next to your hair. Minimum, I think it's 1 inch is on the terms and conditions when you read actually what they say. They say, do not keep a phone next to your person. Not just next to your head. Don't keep it next to your person. Don't have it on you. That's the language they use in the Apple thing. So the papers, booklets. So do not keep a phone next to your head. There's studies done of 7 minutes a day on the phone, how much it increases dementia. So Bluetooth AirPods are much worse, as you can see in the photo. They're shocking. What it does, Bluetooth is really bad because it creates pulsated magnetic energy. So it's like, pulsate is like really high, really high, really high. And especially when you have 2 Bluetooth AirPods, it cross-communicates straight through your brain. So it goes through your phone to your one and then through the brain. So for, clients who I speak to who are like attached to their AirPods or Bluetooth, I say at least keep one in, but ideally you're getting wired headphones or even better air tubes are a wonderful thing, and I don't have time, but if you want to really get good way to speak on the phone, first of all use loudspeaker, but we can't always do that. Air tubes are a wonderful, wonderful product. They're basically wired headphones, but instead of sticking an antenna in your brain, the antenna ends here and then it just has a tube of air which carries the sound. I might have a picture on there. So also sleeping with the Wi-Fi router on, all those things. So now we can go into more action steps. Back on the action steps, I want to just emphasize action step. Do not use the phone next to your head. Either use loudspeaker or have a wired headphone. There's a simple law in physics, and that is the greater the distance, the greater the power density exponentially reduces. So by me having a phone next to my head or even this much away, 10 centimeters, is significant. This is even more significant. It exponentially reduces. By me having a phone in my pocket, like right now, if your phone's not on airplane mode and you have your phone in your pocket, the difference between that and having it on your bag on the floor is very significant. Okay, especially if it's in your pocket, you're zapping your genitals. If it's in your heart, you're creating the breast tissue issues. Phone's on airplane mode, put it on airplane mode and make sure the Wi-Fi and the Bluetooth is off. Then it's basically zero EMF. Sometimes the Wi-Fi and the Bluetooth are not connected, but they're still on. You know what I mean? So it will come up with white. So whenever you are carrying your phone in your pocket, I sometimes put my phone in my pocket. I walked from the taxi to here with my phone in my pocket, but it's always on airplane mode. I would never have, I think that was me. I never have my phone in my pocket on. You don't need it. It's liberating to also have your phone off. Sorry, I think I accidentally turned that off, maybe, because I just hit the thing. So do not keep a phone in your pocket and use wired headphones. So the next action step is what fats to eat, what oils to eat. And how many people here have heard of ghee? Sorry, show me. Nice. So, the best is ghee. I mean, there's so many benefits of ghee I'm sure many people have heard of. But actually in Ayurveda we say Gritam Vardhane Buddhi, which means if you heard of the word Buddhi, similar to the word Buddha, it means intelligence. So Gritam, ghee, Vardhaka, increases the intelligence. In India, they give it to the pundits who are learning to chant the Vedas, to chant the mantras off by heart, long verses of mantras, and it increases their intelligence. So ghee can cross the blood-brain barrier. In Ayurveda, we give medicines cooked with ghee. It's called medicated ghees, and that's one method to deliver the herbs to the brain. Ghee's so profound. I could talk for an hour or two on ghee, but crosses the blood-brain barrier, increases the intelligence. You know, our brain is basically solidified ghee. You can see in this photo, it's basically solidified. You can see it's not melted. You'll see ghee now in this season. That's like the tissue of our brain. So when we do that, it's very good for microbiome. Use it as a cooking oil. For those who don't know, just use it as your cooking oil. It's the most stable cooking oil, 252 degrees. If you heat an oil past its smoke point, it becomes rancid and toxic, such as olive oil. It has a very low smoke point. You don't cook with olive oil. You should just put it on the food. But ghee is the best. Enhances cholesterol, the good cholesterol. It's basically lactose-free. Lactose-intolerant people can eat ghee, especially if it's good quality ghee that's made well. And it oil pulls. Like, it pulls toxins from the gut, just like oil pulling in the mouth. And yeah, many benefits of ghee. Proper hydration is very important. As I mentioned, spring water, that's me harvesting spring water from a local spring, but you don't have to go harvest spring water from a local spring, as absolutely fulfilling that is. You can just get local spring water delivered to you. If you live in Sydney, there's a place called Calgan, Calgan, or Mangrove Spring Water in Central Coast. They deliver to Sydney those bottles, not the light blue ones, but the clear ones. And it comes straight from their spring, underground, untouched by chemicals, full of prana, full of, you know, even if you have the best filter in Sydney or whatever city you're from, you're just filtering chemical, great, you're taking the poison out, the water that the government puts in, but you're still left with dead water because they've pulverized the water with the chemicals. We need to re-enliven that water, which is called restructuring. That's the process of restructure. So not only to filter, but we also need to re-enliven that water to become what's called prana, life force, so that we can get hydration. If you can't get proper hydration right, you can't get anything right. Spring water, otherwise get a filter and restructure unit. I have a podcast. I've got multiple episodes all about water where I speak for 1.5 hours about water. I talk about different devices. It's a big industry. I do a lot of research, and I've currently got my favorite device because they're always evolving to put ideally on the whole house. So you just attach it to your main, then you do your whole house. Not just your drinking water, your showering water. It's more important to bathe in clean water than to drink water, especially if you have hot water. I'll repeat, it's more important to bathe in clean water than drink clean water, if you have to have a choice. Some people just want to get a single filter. Maybe they'll put it on their kitchen sink. It's better to put a filter on your shower, especially if you have hot showers. An average adult on an average shower time length will absorb about 1.5 liters of oil water through the skin, transdermal. And when you're doing tap water, especially on babies, and it's warm and it dilates the channels and it absorbs all the volatile organic compounds and all the toxins that are in there. Avoid hot water on your head. That also dries. And the face as well. I meant to say face, not phase. Avoid unfiltered tap water. So not just filter, we want to restructure as well. I could speak for hours. I do whole lectures on water. All right. Before we go into that, I want to just talk about one of the techniques. It's called self-massage. How many people have heard of self-oil massage? In Ayurveda, daily routine is a very big thing. We give rituals, we do. And one of the things, like, how many people here shower every day? By show of hands. All right. Kind of worrying that not everyone's got their hand up. That's okay, no problem. But really, you should be showering every day. Part of the daily routine in Ayurveda is you should shower every day. But not only should we wash our skin, we should lubricate it. Not only should we scrub our skin, we should put oil on it. That's what feeds the microbiome. Our skin are home to as many species of microbiome than the same in the gut. So we have this high concentration of rich microbiome on our skin. It feeds the skin. It lubricates the nerve. The biggest benefit you'll feel if you oleate your skin every day is pacifying the nervous system. There's no better way to access the trillions of nerve endings than doing oil massage to your skin every day. It should be as fundamental as a shower. That is what I intend to teach when I lecture. Because I'll add this in mostly all lectures because it's one of the most crucial things. Every day, if you are oleating your skin, I guarantee you will prevent so many issues, particularly nervous system disorders, joint issues, osteopenia, osteoporosis, because It feeds the tissues and especially the nervous system. Anyone with anxiety, sleep issues, definitely you will feel a difference that day. I prescribe it to my clients who work with drug and alcohol or autistic or hospice or anything where you feel energetically drained. When you oilate your massage every day, you have this shield. In Ayurveda, we call it kavach. It's a shield of armor. During COVID, what was the best? There's a virus out there trying to get inside here. How do you protect? It's called the energetic periphery. Something on the outside is trying to get inside. You need to protect. You have a shield. Comes through the skin. Skin is so huge. It's like the third brain, they call it now. So many nerves are on the skin. So self-oil massage, it helps with the nerves. Lubricating the spine as much as you can reach. Lubricating the head especially. If you have long hair, you won't do it every day. At least you just put a little bit of oil. I have a poster on our website you can download. This is one page. There's a second page. You can get it for free. We have a stall here. You can get it and learn to do it. Let it be. It can take 10 minutes. It can take 2 minutes. It can take 15 minutes. Like you'd sit on a yoga mat and do yoga asana. Sit on a towel and do the massage before your shower. Very powerful. You'll prevent something. So and now you can also get it done by a therapist, but really you should be doing it every day. But you should experience it. We have a tent here of 3 amazing women practitioners. I don't even like to call it a massage. It's so much more than that. It's a profound treatment, as I said, mainly on the nervous system. Thus, we like to do it at events like this where it energizes what we call kundalini, or the energy in the spine, and activates the nerves in the spine, and you'll feel it. You'll feel it. And once you get it done, you'll also learn a bit how to do it yourself. So not only should we lubricate our skin every day, but this is the big thing I speak about these days, and another daily routine Ayurveda is sniffing oil up the nose. So this is really, I truly believe, one of the most important interventions to do in today's time of age. This is the way you will prevent neurodegeneration. So it's literally an Ayurvedic daily routine for everyone. You get a medicated oil, not just any oil, medicated oil, and I'll demonstrate right now. One drop, and then activates the brain, energizes the brain, good for studying, good while you're listening to me lecture. Switch your brains on, listen, absorb the knowledge. Between every lecture, you listen to it awaken. So easy. Especially if you fly on airplanes. Planes are drier than the Sahara Desert. That's what would dry you out. You know, air attendants, I have some patients who were air flight attendants. These guys age like 10 times faster than anyone else, and they know it. You look at yourself in a mirror after a long flight, you look like you aged 3 years. Planes dry you out. So very good for the plane. On the plane, you can even put it in the ears. So important. Basically for everyone, except when you have a cold, fever or flu, you don't do it. Or if you're menstruating also, you don't have to do it. With the oil massage on the body, use it whatever oil. We have medicated oils. You can use plain coconut oil. You can use plain sesame oil. But when we deal with the nose and the brain, you've got to use special oils, and not even just any Ayurvedic oils. I'm personally meticulous about Ayurvedic herbs and about herbs in general, and I work with a kind of unique standard and formulas. So one of the things is the brain oils and the nasal oils. It's very specific oils, and we have oils here if you want to see them at the tent. But not just the brain. It's good for the respiratory system, like preventing any airborne viruses. And if you are prone to respiratory issues, whether it's hay fever, congestion, sinusitis, rhinitis, it prevents. And then we also have here at Awaken, we just bring the essentials. We have over 300 herbal formulas in our clinic, but we just bring a few here that are general for everyone, one of them being this. And we have prana drops, which some of you may have tried. We have samples. You just put literally 1 drop in a cup of boiling water, and you inhale the steam, and it opens, it cleanses, and it dilates channels if you get headaches or fever or virus, cold, congestion. So that's kind of different. That's more cleansing, opening. This is more nourishing, nourish the brain, prevent it, and also cleanse it if it needs to be cleansed. So that's nasya. For hormones, absolutely crucial for hormones, because we sniff that to the pituitary gland, and the pituitary gland, and I'm speaking tomorrow about hormones in the sun talk, because hormones are very much related with light, but we sniff it to the pituitary gland, which secretes a lot of our body hormones, especially thyroid hormones. So another big thing I work with in my clinic is hypothyroidism or low thyroid. Hashimoto's is an autoimmune expression of that. When we're sniffing oil up the nose every day, it activates the hormones. So it regulates. If it needs more hormones, it will create more. It also regulates the reproductive hormones. So, very important. So, of course, there's herbs. Herbs are a very big thing with neurological health. We do have one herb here for brain and mind, mostly for the nervous system, for the mind, to connect the mind and body and not allow the stress and the cortisol to overtake, this overrunning thing. It's called bliss. It was actually designed for meditation about 150 years ago. My teachers designed this, their forefathers, for people going into deep meditations in India. And we still use that same formula today, but we use it for more anxiety and sleep and people who with hyperstimulating minds. A lot of people use it before meditation. You take it before meditation and it helps with a nice meditation. But yes, herbs definitely for the brain, particularly when we're treating neurological disease. Definitely herbs are recommended, and specific medicated oils for the head to massage. And actually, I'm going to go into treatments. So Shirodhara, you may have heard of this treatment. Here it's Takradhara, which is flowing medicated buttermilk over the head in a rhythmic manner. So it can be Takradhara or Shirodhara, which is medicated oil. Many of you are probably familiar with this photo. So you just flow it over the head through each brain hemisphere, and these go into the brain. These medicated liquids go into the brain. It's very profound. Very profound. You go to different states. And we have our clinics now in Ocean Shores, so we offer these, which is not Byron Bay area. We used to have a clinic in Sydney for nearly 10 years. But you can get this treatment done. But I do recommend for treatments to get a quality practitioner who uses good herbs. And we've got on our website a practitioners list of practitioners we recommend who we think are good. This is a really good treatment. It's not so common at all. It's hard to do. There's a video here, if you can play that video, or do I just click right? It's basically, see that crown? I call it the king of treatments because it's, you can see these old fellas. One of them was suffering quite some dementia. This is in India. And basically that's filled with medicated oil. And it's a very profound treatment. It's very strong, and that oil seeps into the brain. Transdermal has now even become a thing in modern allopathy and giving the medicine. This bloke's also doing it for hair growth, actually. He's been balding. So we did a long treatment plan for him. So, conclusion, neurodegenerative is not a normal part of aging. You are meant to feel mentally sharp, emotionally stable, full sensory perception. In Ayurveda, you live to 120 years old. That's the lifespan. If anyone sees Tom Cronin's talk next, I believe it's next, he's speaking on the yugas, which are the eras. We're now in the age of ignorance called Kali Yuga. The lifespan in Kali Yuga is 120 years old. Don't think anything less. Think of 120. But don't think, I don't want to live to 90 because you think you're going to have, not be able to move. No. You're going to be wise, sharing. Don't settle for decline. Preventative care is not just possible, it's essential. Treatment is also possible. So, as I said, I'm speaking tomorrow about the sun in them. Tomorrow I'm speaking actually about Ayurveda as well. A full talk on Ayurveda. And, check out the tent. We have treatments going on. We have consultations. Well, I'm consulting in Sydney in the next couple of days, tomorrow, or Monday and Tuesday, Newcastle, and I'm in online. Mostly I consult online, as well as Byron. And we got a bunch of stuff. The stall, and that's it, guys. So do we have time for any questions, any burning questions? Does anyone have a mic so that everyone can hear? Yeah. So I'll just quickly answer her question. It was, what's the best oil to put on after the shower? It's important to put oil before the shower. Oil is lipophilic, which means it pulls toxins. If anyone's heard of oil pulling, it's literally pulls toxins out. So when you put it on the skin, it pulls it. That's why you have to shower. So the first time you apply oil, put the oil on, then shower. Then you've done the detoxifying and you've washed it. As much as you want, lubricate and moisturize. But ideally medicated oils, and generally coconut-based in the winter or in the summer, sesame-based in the winter. We have both medicated sesame and medicated coconut, and we have herbs. You can make your own medicated oil.
So my question is, in regards to the oil cleansing for the nose, can you also use the gelinetti process with
So
that?
gelinetti is a saline rinse when you might have seen people tipping saline salt water up their nose. If you're doing that, it's essential you do nasika, the nose drops, because the saline rinse is going to dry out as well as cleanse. So the nose drops is actually more nourishing than a cleansing. So yes, they work very well hand in hand. The only time you don't do nose drops, besides when you're sick, is next to a shower or next to a swim. You don't want to be very wet. So you wouldn't do it right after the saline rinse. You would wait till the nasal cavity dries out a bit, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then do it.
Also, just one more. Does the time of the day, like, would you recommend during the morning
Multiple
time or
times a day,
nighttime, or
multiple
when?
times a day. My teacher said if you do it 14 times a day, you can reverse the graying of hair. Anyone want to try? One of the benefits is it enhances the blood flow to the hair follicles, which increases hair strength and blood flow. But no, you can do it anytime. Do it whenever. Before you turn the car on every time, between every meeting, every time you walk out the door, something where you can do it regularly. But a few times a day is wonderful if you can do that. So we're out of time. I will hang around for any questions just here, or in fact, I'll go to the store so I can even show you some other things if you like.
I hope to contribute towards increasing the collective consciousness and helping that evolve. I also personally have enjoyed and look forward to continuing collaborations and meeting other people in similar fields and working together to create more of a ripple effect of wellness. So this is medicated nose oil or medicated sesame oil, and what we do in Ayurveda is we sniff oil up our nose every day. We just get a bit of it, one drop, and what that does is it sniffs it to the brain, that lubricates the brain, and when we have a well lubricated brain, it prevents dry brain, which is neurological disorders like Alzheimer's, dementia. Any degenerative disorders is dryness. So we want to lubricate, enhance cognitive function. It also goes straight to the pituitary gland, which secretes hormones like thyroid hormones, reproductive hormones, adrenal hormones. So it's very good for hormones, for brain health, for upper respiratory tract, and something we should be doing every day is sniffing oil up the nose.